In this video, we're gonna find out exactly what we should expect from the fight scenes in the upcoming Ghost in the Shell movie. To do that, we're gonna look at everything the fight choreographer's ever done, what the director's done before, behind the scenes footage, what the actors are capable of, and not just the original Ghost in the Shell movie, but other Ghost in the Shell TV series as well. The Ghost in the Shell trailer is designed to brag about how true to the anime it's gonna be, but we can already see there are gonna be some changes to the action. The first thing we should look at is what the fight choreography was like in the original Ghost in the Shell movie. The original choreography actually had a lot of judo, a couple of fancy kicks, and man did it love breaking bones. Scarlett Johansson can't do this kind of fancy spinning hook kick, so I would expect them to change that up for a standard front kick. It's easy for her to do. And we can already see from some behind the scenes footage that this is exactly what they've done. That's something we need to expect from the fight choreography in Ghost in the Shell. Fewer fancy taekwondo kicks and more standard front kicks. Too many front kicks in a row would get really boring though, so they're going to trade out some of the kicks for punches, and we can see that here in the trailer with this massive uppercut. The choreographer for Ghost in the Shell is Tim Wong, who loves long weapons, and he's managed to put them into every major fight scene he has ever done, whether it's Gods of Egypt or Tracker. This is a guy who will go to bat to make sure he gets long weapons in his fight scenes. We've seen Scarlett Johansson look pretty cool with a long weapon before, and no doubt the choreographer and the director have noticed this as well. One thing Tim Wong doesn't do though is long, intricate sequences like a Jackie Chan kind of style, so don't expect that in these fights. Wong focuses more on creating moments in his fight scenes, and I have to admit, this is a pretty freaking cool moment. So in Ghost in the Shell, we're not going to see long Jackie Chan style sequences, but we are going to see a lot of really cool creative moments. So what about the grappling and judo in the original choreography for Ghost in the Shell? Are we going to see any of that? Tim Wong is a choreographer who managed to convince a director to put an armbar and a sweep into a period piece set in 1903. You know how difficult it is to convince a director to put jujitsu in a 1903 period piece? He must have done some serious negotiating to get grappling into this movie, so we will see it in Ghost in the Shell, no doubt. Hopefully though, the grappling will not be like this, because oh my god, it seems like no director is willing to work with Scarlett Johansson in an action movie unless he's allowed to put a man's face in her crotch. There is going to be some sexualization of the fight scenes though, like this clip here where she's handcuffed to a stripper pole. Maybe it's some other kind of pole, but come on, we know we're supposed to think stripper pole in this shot. So what about the director, Rupert Sanders? What's his resume like? Well, the only film he's ever done is Snow White and the Huntsman, which is pretty concerning. But check this out, he likes long weapons like you can see in this fight scene. And there's an actual fight happening here, it's not just an excuse to have a collage of slow motions. That's really encouraging. Later on in the film, we see that he does like people getting thrown around. I mean, there's no excuse for her to fly this far when she gets hit. But think about it, we're talking about Ghost in the Shell where people are cyber enhanced. So people being thrown or hit long distances is going to make sense. And Tim Wong's no stranger to putting a couple of large throws into his fight scenes, so he's going to be okay incorporating that kind of action. Here are a couple of Black Widow clips to give you a feel for what it's going to be like seeing Scarlett Johansson do a little bit of grappling and judo. Her short fight with Bucky Barnes is a perfect example of what it's going to feel like seeing Scarlett Johansson do some grappling with somebody who can really throw her across the screen. More than anything, I think the fight scene's going to feel like this fight from Ghost in the Shell Arise. The fight is a lot more punch heavy than kicks. You've got some wire jumps in there for Scarlett to do, and then right into some grappling. And it's not obscure grappling like a Peruvian necktie or anything. Audiences understand what a rear naked choke is these days, but it's gonna have a distinct Ghost in the Shell flair to it. Like the defense is gonna involve an arm getting completely ripped off, and then a judo throw is gonna go into a solid wall across the room. Don't expect to see Scarlett flying through walls like a typical Hollywood movie. That's not the Ghost in the Shell vibe. The Ghost in the Shell vibe is for stuff to be made of stone and hard materials that gets crushed. And of course, we're gonna get the obligatory Ghost in the Shell head crush at some point. Let's revisit this idea of a long weapon for a second though, because it might not be Scarlett Johansson who uses it. Rila Fukushima is also in this movie. She plays Katana in the Arrow series, and she also played Yukio in the Wolverine movie. She looks cool with a sword and a bow staff, so she might end up being the one to wield some really cool weapon. Oh no, did she just do what I think she... No! Oh my god, it's... Forget everything I said. It's a crotch off. It's gonna be a crotch off, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus Christ.